There is a whole genre of advice built on a single number on a clock. Wake at 5 in the morning, the story goes, and you join the disciplined few who win the day before everyone else has opened their eyes. It is sold as the master habit, the one change that unlocks all the others. So we put the claim on the bench and asked a narrower question than the books do. Is it the hour that makes people productive, or is something else doing the work and taking the hour's credit? We audited what waking at 5 actually does. Start with the part the advice ignores. You do not pick your wake time from nothing. Every person runs an internal clock, a chronotype, that sets when your body wants to sleep and when it naturally peaks. And that clock is substantially written into your biology. Large genome-wide studies, including one analysis of nearly 700,000 people, have linked hundreds of genetic markers to morning versus evening preference over 350 distinct sites in the genome. When researchers add it all up, chronotype lands at roughly 40 to 50% heritable. About half of whether you are a natural early riser or a natural night person was decided before you ever read a productivity book. The rest is age, light exposure, and environment, real, but not infinitely bendable. This is the foundation the 5 in the morning pitch is built on top of, and usually pretends isn't there. Now look at how that wiring is distributed across a population, because the marketing quietly assumes everyone is the same animal. They are not. Sleep researchers who sort people by their natural peak find roughly the same shape every time. Strong morning types, the true early risers who wake sharp at dawn without a fight, are a minority, on the order of 1 in 6 or 7 people. Strong evening types, the genuine night people, are a comparable minority on the other end. And the largest group by far, somewhere around half of everyone, sits in the middle with a natural rhythm that is neither extreme. So a rule that says everyone should be awake and working at 5 in the morning is a rule designed for a fraction of the population, sold to all of it. For most people, it is not aspiration. It is a costume that does not fit. Here is what happens when the rule meets the wiring. There is a measured concept for the gap between the clock your body wants and the clock your schedule imposes. Researchers call it social jet lag. The same kind of misalignment you feel flying across time zones, except you generate it at home every week with an alarm. And it is not rare. Estimates put it at roughly 2 in 3 adults in industrialized countries carrying at least an hour of it. The reason it matters is that the misalignment is not free. Studies have tied larger amounts of social jet lag to worse outcomes: wider waistlines, poorer metabolic markers, lower mood, and reduced well-being. So when you take a natural evening type and force them up at 5, you are not installing discipline. You are manufacturing jet lag and calling it a routine. The deeper the mismatch, the steeper the tax, paid in exactly the health and focus the routine was supposed to buy. And there is a second simpler cost the slogan almost never mentions: arithmetic. The 5 in the morning advice almost always moves the start of your day earlier without moving your bedtime back to match. Real life, work, family, the evening, a phone, defends the late hours hard. So the hour does not come from thin air. It comes out of sleep. The recommended range for adults is 7 to 9 hours a night, and anything under 7 counts as short sleep. By the latest figures, somewhere between 1/3 and 40% of adults already fall below that line. Shave another hour off the front to make the early start, and the research on short sleep is blunt about the bill. Slower and more error-prone attention, weaker working memory, worse executive function and mood. The cruel part is the trade. You wake early to gain productive hours, and you pay for them by degrading the very brain that was supposed to use them. So does any of this show up in actual performance, or is it just theory? It shows up. When researchers take natural evening types and push their wake time earlier than their biology wants, the result is not a hidden reserve of productivity unlocked. The opposite. Measured cognitive performance falls, mood drops, and output suffers. The early hours simply land before their brain has come online. Meanwhile, the broader research keeps pointing at a different lever entirely. Across studies, the quality and consistency of sleep predicts next day performance far more reliably than the number on the clock when you wake. A well-rested night person starting at 8 beats a sleep-deprived one forced up at 5. Not because 8 is magic, but because rest is. The clock number, examined directly, is doing very little of the work the books credit it with. Hold on, plenty of people swear the early start genuinely changed their output, and they are not lying. So what is actually working when it works? Strip the 5 in the morning routine down, and the real ingredient is almost never the hour. It is a protected block of uninterrupted time. Before the world wakes up, nobody is messaging you. Nothing is pinging. No one is asking for things. You get a clean, distraction-free stretch to do deep work, and deep, uninterrupted focus is one of the most reliable productivity levers there is. The early risers credit the clock. The data credits the quiet. And that distinction is everything, because the benefit is portable. A natural night person can get the exact same protected block at 10 at night, or carve a defended, no interruptions window into the middle of an ordinary day. The active ingredient was never the sunrise. It was the absence of interruption, and that you can engineer at any hour your biology actually likes. So pull it together on the bench. Does waking at 5 in the morning actually make you more productive? For a genuine morning type who still protects a full night's sleep, an early start is a fine fit. Though even then, it is the rest and the quiet doing the work, not the digits on the alarm. For everyone else, the honest red is that the 5 in the morning club is selling one person's biology as a universal law, and the people who force it most against their own wiring tend to pay the most in sleep cut short, in self-generated jet lag, in mornings their brain shows up late for. The clock number is a proxy, and a bad one. The two things that actually move productivity are underneath it the whole time, enough consistent sleep, and a protected block of uninterrupted focus time to when you are genuinely sharp. Find your real peak. Defend a quiet hour inside it. The number on the clock can be whatever your biology says it should be.